LeRon, I'm going to lean on you for this.
Okay.
We did finally get real specs for this console, right?
Mhm.
It's a pretty beefy handheld, I think. I think obviously a lot of these specs are either Nintendo's going to optimize their games very well for these things, or it's kind of fluff for third party. You know what I mean? Like when PlayStation 5 said 8K on the box for a while, that kind of thing. But regardless, LeRon, tell us about the specs of this console.
Okay. All right. So first of all, it was there were some nice little surprises in there for me. If we break this down, line by line, it's got a 7.9-inch LCD display screen, with HDR support, which I'm actually happy about. There are actual video files out there that they love, seeing like HDR support and all this stuff, which is good. The screen itself has 120 hertz refresh rate, and if I'm not mistaken, I do believe that for the most part, like in dock mode, it'll also support those refresh rates up to 120 hertz.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I can't remember specifically if I saw anything for past it, like 144.
No,
But
it's 120. It's 120
okay,
across the board.
yeah. 1080p resolution in handheld mode. Finally, I feel like that should have been a thing for the Switch OLED, but whatever. Up to 4K resolution when docked, which is very nice. A lot of people are getting what they asked for as far as like the display side of it and things like that. So that's great. Performance wise, yeah, it's officially confirmed. It is the custom NVIDIA T239 chip, based on Ampere architecture, which means it's like, okay, this is the tech guy in me. Like Ampere, that's 3 generations behind on the current GPUs, stuff like that. Actually four, but I'll give it 3 because like technically this T239 chip is actually a better version than what was in our GTX 1080s and stuff like that. So we'll do that. 8-core ARM Cortex processor. Okay, just to dumb it down just a little bit, it's basically a processor that also does graphics and stuff like that. So I feel very good about that. 16 gigabytes of LPDDR5 RAM, basically almost a standard at this point. Because we
Yep.
are also, we as far as the PC side goes, we're on a newer generation of LPDDR. As a matter of fact, we're a little bit better than that. So yeah, not bad. DLSS technology, that is one thing that like only PC gamers are really going to know and respect. But trust me, DLSS is a game changer because basically it's using AI algorithm and stuff to actually enhance your graphics and make the performance better. So you'll be able, so basically, and it also saves a little bit of power on the system itself. So it's not going to be a big power draw because it's actually going to be using computational stuff to actually make games on lower resolutions look like the highest resolution you can get. With that, so awesome on that. Storage wise, we're looking at 256 gigabytes of internal storage, which is a big deal considering that our old boy switches, were just 32 gigs. So man,
So, question:
yes.
Did they confirm if this is solid state storage or flash storage?
Didn't hear about solid. I didn't hear about that actually. So it's actually, I may have to look into that. Because I didn't, and I didn't even think about it this morning when I was watching the actual direct show. So like,
I
I'll give
imagine
it.
it's Flash.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's Flash too, because
I'm looking it up now.
Okay.
yeah, because I mean, solid state. There's only right now the PS5 is the only one that offers actual true solid state.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
PS5 or PS5 Pro?
both
PS5.
the PS5 family.
It's Flash.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's Flash storage.
And expandable memory via SD memory cards. Now, here's the thing, though. This is a newer class of micro SD cards. It's the micro SD Express cards, which Samsung was the first ones to trot those out and stuff like that. So your old school SD cards, like where I know I have one on my desk somewhere. Oh well, whatever. It's like your old school SD cards are not going to work on this. So don't think you're going to be able to just pull your 256 or 480 gigabyte SD cards out of your switches and just throw us right in the Switch 2. They're not going to be compatible.
What is it called now? Like, what is the special?
It is the
Card type.
micro. It is the micro SD. It is the micro SD Express.
When did those come out? Like when did they?
They've been out. They've been out. They've been on the market. I had to look them up. They've been out on the market for at least a year now.
Oh, okay. So they're like kind of because I know everybody was just looking at the regular SD cards since the regular Switch.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anyone talking about Express SD cards.
They're the ones that just say they're the ones that say EX on them, right?
No, they're not. No, they actually have like a banner that says Micro SD Express. As a matter of fact, if you give me a second, Corey, I'll share a link to you. You can actually throw it up on the what's.
Yeah, they show it in the direct when they're showing the cards and stuff. I just didn't know that they were out because I didn't know they had the new cards out or anything.
Well, I'm looking at one that says Express card, and there's like clearly a EX printed on the card. That's what I was.
Those have been around for years. The ones that just have the EX on them, but they're not Express. EX.
I didn't know if that was like an indicator because the title of the card says Micro SD XC Express card.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't know if that EX logo was like a
no, because crap. Where is it? This is just an Evo card. The one I have right here. This is the Evo card. I know I have one that has EX. And EX just means it has a better transfer speed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Aren't they more expensive too?
A little bit, not by much.
A little bit, not by much, because the one that SanDisk offers is 128 gigs is $45, and the 256 is $10 more. So like, well, $15 more technically. Bad math, my bad.
And I'm assuming those probably would drop once Switch 2 come out and the sales start picking up for them.
Actually, micro SD cards don't get really expensive until you get past the 512 range. So like this is good pricing for these. The 1
terabyte and stuff.
But I'm going to recommend, and this is just a cheat code for everybody, for all the gamers out there. Don't buy the proprietary Nintendo ones. You're gonna get host run your money on that one.
You're paying for a logo at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I want a mushroom on mine.
Hey, then spend that money.
Do you enjoy being poor?
Stephanie, I think you're going to ask me something. I'm sorry, I've just been talking.
No. That's why I wanted to put it in the chat so I wouldn't interrupt you.
Yeah.
And it came up when, just coincidentally, when you were talking about performance, and we'll get to the games that will be on the Switch 2, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say that I was looking at a Kotaku article, but I was. And it was complaining about the potential battery life. It could be as low as 2 hours, but up to, I believe, 6. And they were comparing it to all the other ones. Probably because of the more demanding games. So I'm not sure if that makes sense. Yeah, it says Nintendo confirmed that the next gen device will run from anywhere from 2 to 6.5 hours, but that's a pretty big range. Any thoughts on that battery range?
Is this like the Steam Deck around that saying?
Yeah, like for the Steam
kind
Deck,
of industry standard at this point.
It is, yeah.
I can vouch because I played games on my Steam Deck where it's like, for example, Ghost of Tsushima, I would get like on a full charge, 2.5 hours. I'm playing on like medium settings.
Yeah, that's about the same that I get from my ROG Ally X.
Yeah, and then say if me and LeRon were playing Monster Hunter, I get like 2 hours, maybe like hour 45. But if I play Half-Life 2, I get like 6 hours. It's easy.
Yeah,
so
it's all about how powerful the game is pulling the draw on the hardware. Yeah. That's the main thing.
I don't know if the Switch 2 is gonna do it, but on the Steam Deck, I can like manipulate how much like power the game is taking, and then like how much like
I would guarantee you that's not happening.
The Switch is not going to have to where we might control it, but cooked into the actual software itself, the game might push out like, hey, like this is how much power it's going to draw and all that stuff. There may be something in the game itself that regulates that, because
or if you change the resolution settings in the I think that's probably
on your main console,
about the because like I don't need it to run at 1080p in handheld mode. I'm gonna drop that to 720p. Right? I mean, it's an 8-inch screen. It's an 8-inch screen.
I need a 1080p.
I think that's probably why they put the USB-C, like that additional one at the top. So if it's getting close, you can still play it handheld, connect it, and then keep playing until it charges.
Yeah, don't have that Dreamcast problem.
It's for those of us who like to play in bed.
Yeah.
And we don't want the bug constantly sticking us in the stomach.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. Though it does have two USB types. It does have two USB Type C ports, which I want to see what the expansionability of those are. You know, besides just using one for charging and using one for accessories, I want to see what they can actually do with that, because like there's a lot of like Andre, Stephanie, you guys know, because like we all have PC handhelds. Like there's a lot of expandability with our additional ports on there. Like you can hook up iGPUs to them, which, you know, like iGPU is basically an external graphics card. Like, not saying the Switch is going to do that. God, that'd be awesome if the Switch could do that. But there's a whole bunch of functionality and expandability when you have multiple USB ports that aren't just being used for the accessories or for charging.
I know there's a ton of like AR glasses, like the company Vitcher, I believe. So I wonder if the Switch 2 will have the ability where you can plug in the glasses, then like have that
experience. I think probably over time they'll probably include more functionalities that use it. I think right now it's just like basic.
Well, they can always push a software update to unlock
as long as they don't do the dumb shit they did with the Bluetooth functionality on the Switch, we'll be all right. Because it took 4 fucking years, but whatever.
Can I interject something real quick about
what's up
before we move on?
Yeah.
The specs on this are like we just said, they're pretty close to what the standard non-OLED Steam Deck is right now. I think that takes me back a little bit, that it's not an OLED screen right off the bat. I think if you've played the Switch versus like the Switch Lite or the OLED, like it is very clear how good the OLED screen is. Like I was not a believer until I actually bought one myself, and it was just night and day with how good it was. So to not have that here, it does feel like, we're probably heading for another round of, here's the Switch 2 Lite, like next holiday when it's been 18 months. And then, here's the OLED one, like the next time you have a mainline Zelda game. Here's the OLED Switch. Like, I don't really love when companies do that, but like outside of that screen, the specs are pretty impressive for what they've packed into a Nintendo handheld. Like, I think we all think stereotypically like, and like by we all, I don't mean like necessarily the people on this panel, but as a gaming community, think of as gamers with a Z, we think of Nintendo as this company that just like doesn't care about specs and like is fine with like being a few generations behind. I mean, like, look at how the Switch was in comparison to the PS4 and Xbox One. Like, this is a massive step up from the first Switch.
This is definitely a massive step up.
They essentially looked at the Xbox Series S, tuned it down just a little bit in some areas, and tuned it up in others. Like, it's got 16 gigs of RAM, and the Series S has 10. They basically took that and crammed it into a handheld, is what they did here.
Yeah.
And I think that's super important because, yes, the Switch was the first of like these portable consoles that we had. Because I don't count like Game Boy, 3DS, Vita, like I don't count any of that. Like, it started this trend. Like, obviously Steam Deck has now taken off. You've seen things like the ROG Ally. We know Xbox is making a handheld. It's very clear that with the third-party support that we saw today also, that they are trying to shift the industry, rather, I should say, not necessarily Nintendo, but the industry is shifting more towards, our games need to, at bare minimum, they have to run good on the Steam Deck and the Switch 2. And if both of those are good benchmarks, and then you have Xbox coming out with their handheld in the next 18 months like we expect, that's going to be the baseline. I think you're going to see less of a focus on the hyper-realistic, like 5090 graphics cards from NVIDIA and more on this, because people don't have money. They're strapped for cash. Gaming is an expensive hobby. This is a way to still keep it affordable for families, for kids, for students. I mean, for people on the go. Like, I am finding myself using the smaller, less powerful consoles more and more just because, like, they're smaller. I use my Series S every single day. I use my Switch pretty regularly.
Yeah, just to piggyback on that, I also believe the reason why this has not come out the gate with an OLED system is because of an OLED screen. Is because they needed to save some money. Save some money.
Right, and like we'll get into the price, but like I saw people complaining about the price, and I don't necessarily disagree with the people who are frustrated about the price. I do think it's probably $50 more expensive than they were planning on it being. I do think that the price was supposed to be around $400, and given the specs in a handheld, that's not bad. It's a 4K dock that's being included with it also. Like, it's good. Like, that dock is the most impressive thing for me out of all the tech specs.
Yeah.
So if that really is uprising to true 4K, and you're telling me it can put out at 120 frames both on the dock and handheld, that's massive. That's massive for a system that, with the Switch 1, it felt like it was chugging in handheld mode even from the beginning when you would try to play something like Breath of the Wild. So if I can get consistent performance in handheld mode, I'm here for it. Even if that means, hey, I'm going to tone it down and be like, oh, I'm going to run 780p with 60 frames, but it's going to be a stable 60 frames. I'm here for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just to go ahead and finish rounding out the specs on this whole thing, right? We look at the breakdown of the controllers. They're redesigned magnetic Joy-Con controllers with Hall effect sticks. Trust me, Hall effect sticks are what you want.
Yep.
They're what you want.
Yep.
To specifically to prevent drift. So there we go. Because you know what? We don't have a price point for what these Joy-Cons are supposed to be.
Yes, we do.
Oh, we do? Oh,
$90.
So once again, Nintendo continues making the most expensive controller.
The Nintendo Switch Pro controller is cheaper than a pair of Joy-Cons.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they always have been, though, right? Or are they 70? I thought they were. Are they 80 or are they 70?
They're 70.
Oh,
70.
They're 70. Yeah, which is why I've never bought new Joy-Cons. But okay, but two of the cooler things about this, one is one of the things we knew, and one of the things was teased. We knew that at least one Joy-Con was going to function like a mouse when detached. But both Joy-Cons function as mouse controllers now.
Actually, we knew that both of them did it. I think when they first showed
revealed that.
Hey, you Nintendo enthusiasts, might have known that, but us guys who play our PlayStations, PCs, and Xboxes, we didn't know that shit. We only knew there was one.
I think it was in the first trailer when they showed it.
Josh, did you say that?
Yeah.
Okay, well, my bad. Like I said, I'm not a Nintendo enthusiast. As a matter of fact, I'm probably the least Nintendo person on this entire panel. From
that, you're only here for the tech.
Exactly. Hey, I get my warm and jolly fuzzies where I can, you know. But
I'm sure you do.
But the C button was. The C button on the Joy-Cons was finally officially revealed or unveiled or whatever, and we now know that this is going to be used exclusive for game chat features and functionalities and stuff like that. So that was pretty exciting to see as well. And then as far as audio, we've got newly improved audio design for the system, where it has 3D audio support. And like if you guys don't know a thing or two about 3D audio support, like it actually makes things more immersive, particularly if you have like good headphones like hooked up to your system and stuff like that. So that's something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Overall, tech wise, this thing is looking pretty nice. It's definitely, like Josh said, it's like a 2, maybe 3x leap over what we got with the original Switch, you know, stuff like that. And I think Nintendo was paying attention to all the speculation about, like, you know, all the speculation and all the bad talking about like the Switch, the original Switch, stuff like that. Let's look at it this way: the Switch is like 8 years old now, and like it was showing its age like 4 years ago.
Yeah. I think you know, I Ed and I talk about this all the time, but the current Nintendo leadership is extremely conservative compared to Iwata and Reggie, and I think they saw obviously the potential of the Steam Deck, and they see these other consoles, and I think they want to be obviously not as powerful as the Xbox Series X or the PS5, but like I think they want to at least have some of those games on their console to at least be somewhat competitive. And so I think this was the right move. I am overall excited.
If you want to see how you can become a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. The Patreon producers for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Sana Dierig, Francisco Santillan, Matthew Keel, and Christian S. Thanks for your continued support of the Boss Rush Network.